Welcome to the session of our web series, Fireside Chat with Champions, in which we interview global business leaders asking their crowdsourced questions relevant to the biggest challenge we face today, COVID-19 and its impact on business and society at large, and the way we can steer ourselves in current uncertainties. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Gustavo Palerosi Carneiro, Senior Vice President, Agriculture Solution, Asia Pacific, BASF. BASF is world's leading chemical company, acting as an enabler for society to supply safe, nutritious, and affordable food. Global concerns about the environment, growing world population, and health are driving BASF to find new and safe ways to feed the world. To this end, BASF's agriculture solution business works closely with farmers around the world to provide them with crop protection products, seeds, and other solutions that improve plant and soil health. In order to maximize the farm yield and profitability and sustainability of the farmer as well as the environment, BASF has formalized its ambition in its corporate purpose, which is to create chemistry for a sustainable future. Gustavo, who leads BASF's business in Asia Pacific region, started his career with BASF in 1999 as a strategic controlling analyst for South America in Brazil, and has since held various management positions in BASF in Germany, Argentina, Brazil, and now Singapore. Most recently, he led the global planning, controlling, and information technology function for BASF's crop protection division and was based in Germany. He holds an MBA from University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thank Gustavo for accepting our invitation. I would like you to let our viewers know a little bit more about you and your current activities and interests. Floor is yours, Gustavo.
Thanks, Deepak. I think you have said so much about me that it's difficult to add much more. I'm for more than 4 years here based in Singapore, working for BASF, a German traditionally chemical company, but now very active also in the area of seeds and digital solutions as well. And I think within these 4 years, it has been an amazing, good opportunity for me and for my team to support agriculture, which is our passion. And I believe also your passion, Deepak, and for many of you also watching us today. Yeah. So I think we are very active in fungicides, herbicides, insecticides. We have also biological solutions. We are trying to introduce digital solutions with the brand of Xavio in the area of scouting, also precision farming, which is called Xavio Field Manager. And at the same time, we also had a vegetable seed business in many countries in Asia, also canola, and very soon wheat seeds in Australia as well. That's a little bit about myself and BASF. And agriculture solutions is one out of many different units of BASF, which is a big chemical conglomerate.
Wow. No, Gustavo, actually, it's always a pleasure to be talking to you because you bring so much of insight. So that's why when I wanted to do this session, I was very keen to have you as part of the session. Gustavo, you know that the feeding world was always a problem for people like you and me, because like we already know that 800 million people go to bed without 2 square meals. Going forward, because of COVID, we have seen that the supply chain has become broken, both on the upstream and the downstream. That has put more pressure on the food system itself. How do you see going forward the COVID impacting the food security as well as overall agribusiness globally?
Yeah, no, thanks, Deepak, for the question. I would say we as society, we were able to meet the challenges of feeding a 70 billion people population, but our challenges are getting much bigger now. It's not only about feeding a growing population, but I think the demands of us is to produce food on a sustainable way. And in many ways, I think that the level of sustainability of food production has not been into the standards that we need to continue to preserve our planet in the future. And I think also based on a growth population, the demand from nutritious and safe food is getting higher and higher across the globe, also driven by the growing society in Asia population. So I think we were able to meet the challenge of today, but the challenge of the future, they are much different. And I think we all need to work together, governments, suppliers, technology companies, to really being able to produce not only more food, which is something that we used to talk about in the past, but nutritious food, health food, and most important, that we preserve the land from our kids, grandkids, and the future generations. And I think that's the word of the day. Any industry you go, sustainability is the key word. And I think also here, I hope me, you, Deepak, and I know you are an active contribution of that, and many of people watching us. I think that's an area that we are looking forward to contribute together.
That's really very well articulated and brisk reply for challenges which we face today. Coming closer to your industry, so Gustavo, you know that actually agri-input industry has been having its own nuances, right? Meeting farmer has been a very, very important part of the overall activity, providing extension services, knowledge to them, and definitely the products when it's seeds and all the chemicals. Now, post-COVID, the things are going to be very different. The social distancing norm, not having too many people in one gathering. So all those challenges would be changing the way the agri businesses would be of future post-COVID. How do we see the agri input business changing post-COVID going forward?
Yeah, no, thanks, Deepak, for the question. I would say after an important acquisition that BASF did acquire certain chemicals and the entire seed business of Bayer, we have spent about a year to think about our new strategy, which is how the world would look like in 10 years and how BASF would play a role. It's impressive that things that we thought would be happening in 10 years, they are happening much faster. And I think that's a summary to what I believe COVID is triggering. Everything we thought it would be happening is happening much, much faster than what we thought. I would say maybe talking about a few areas that we see an impact. First, I think COVID has been a stress test to any company in terms of supply chain. I think if you don't have a robust supply chain, you'll be completely now out of your balancing, being able to promote the continuity of your business. And I'm very happy that I think the worst has already passed, and we were able to supply every customer of BASF without major problem. I think there's also a major change in what people are eating within this period. We used to travel a lot. We used to eat a lot in restaurants. I don't know you, Deepak, but my diet changed completely to things that we know how to cook at home. So which kind of food also can get access to the supermarkets in the place also has changed. And I think here it's going to have an impact now. Things will get slowly back to normal, but I can see for the next years, there will be a lot of difference from the way we used to live before. I don't know if we are going to travel internationally as much as we used to travel. Yeah. So I think there is a lot of changes, but what I think is we change, and I think there is directly to things that I know you are passionate about, Deepak, is the use of technology for farming. Yeah, farming has always been a job, very honorable job that parents transmit to kids and so on. There is a lot of heritage and a very missionary work. And a lot of things that farmers are doing is based on what they learn, is based on the experience. And by the way, they don't learn at school, they learn with their parents. And I think technology will play a much bigger role in the future. It's not what we are doing is wrong, but by using technology, we can use less resources, we can be more precise. And I think here we can talk a lot about what would be that role of technology. But the question is, there will be from no technology to a completely digital farming and technology-based farmers, there will be a transition period that we all going to play a role. And that's what I mean. It will be accelerated, further accelerated within this year. And one example is, for example, use of e-commerce, right? We all know about the convenience. I give an example. We used to go to the supermarket, get our groceries, bring it at home. It's very heavy, time-consuming. Why should I do that if I can just in my app order what I want? Even I can schedule 7 p.m. my groceries being delivered. So COVID has, exponentially accelerated e-commerce, and we all believe that could a farmer buy products via e-commerce? Yes, but not today. I think situations like COVID would further accelerate just one segment within farming, which is what farmers are purchasing. Yeah?
Yeah, very rightly articulated. So I fully agree with what you said. In fact, I'll just give you one small evidence for that. I've been for past 3 years, also I travel the world, meet a lot of people and try to push agenda of digitization, right? Through the companies to the government. And I do a lot of digital transformation consulting. So, but the response used to be lukewarm in agriculture, that farmer doesn't understand, government is too complex, input companies that were having their own processes, so it's difficult to digitize immediately. And suddenly, in the COVID, when I was thinking business are going to go down, I suddenly started getting a lot of interest in the consulting part of it. So I received a call from a state head I met 2 years back. His office reached out to me and said that, Deepak, actually we want to digitize agriculture in our country. We want you to be onboarded as soon as possible. So I asked them, is your leader suddenly getting excited or you suddenly getting excited? What's the reason of this? They said actually the biggest motivation is COVID. So the digitization, I believe, is catalyzed by the COVID. And that brings us to this very relevant question. So Gustavo, I would like to understand from you that digitization has been always something which BASF wanted to do or is already doing in various phases. How do you see digitization getting accelerated? In which specific, you mentioned e-commerce, or what are the other technologies do you see that would be very, very critical and which would be adding far more value than other technologies to be more practical, having this transition which would benefit both the farmers as well as companies like you? So what's your view on digitization in agriculture currently?
Okay, good. I would say, Deepak, digitalization can go in many areas. I just give an example. We can use digitalization to improve production processes, smart production, smart R&D. We can, and I think also we hear from the vaccines of COVID, how much digitalization is being used to help to accelerate activities. And all of that are very important pieces of digitalization that BASF is taking very seriously. But I would focus my answer in two areas. One is the interaction with customers and how we used to do in the past and what we are doing right now. And the other piece of digitalization is the precision farming itself, which can change the way that farmer, or cannot change, can complement the way the farmer is doing today. So we have thousands of people of BASF supporting distribution, retailers, and farmers on the day-to-day. The typical way of introducing a new technology: you go to a village, you do a demo plot, you call a few farmers to see a farmer meeting. And with that, we could also explain, and this is very important for BASF, explain how should a product be properly used, which is not about our mission, not only to sell products, but to really to ensure that the products are properly used. I think the way we interact with customers, as many people are watching today our interview that is being online, I think the way of customer interaction that we can do, farmer meetings or product launch, we will use much more digital ways. Yeah? So things how a distributor or retailer could order products from BASF, until the point how do we explain new products, how we do product trainings, product launches, customer meetings, and so on. And I think the numbers are multiplied by more than 3 times the number of people that we have reached during 2020. And I just give an example. Have you thought, Deepak, that 1 or 2 years ago, if you need a doctor, that you could have a tele-doctor, that you would dial in a number, within 10 minutes, a doctor will see you, and you say, hi, I'm having a fever, or I have a diarrhea, can you give me something? He's already shipping you the product via post, via normal post service, and you avoid the big efforts to go to a hospital that many of us don't like. So if even doctor consultation can be online, not to say I mentioned about supermarket, I can mention about taxi. We used to call taxis or go home. I don't know if someone's doing that anymore. So there is no way to think that farming will be, or the activities that companies like BASF is doing, or farm will continue to be the same in the future. So it will change, and it's already changing. And I think we all have to, I would say, be very alert and be very connected to the new way of doing business. But it will happen step by step on accelerated path. Yeah?
No, you're again, you're on the dot. Actually, I've been interacting with a lot of farmers during COVID, as well as because we are in essential services, we had some flexibility of we can move out. So I've also visited farmers, luckily. You'll be surprised that those farmers initially, we were very, very apprehensive of using technology. Now they're asking our team and myself that actually, can you teach us to make a WhatsApp video call? Because I want to connect to my buyer so that he can see my produce and we can get a deal. So you are, and we train 150 such farmers how to use WhatsApp call. I strongly believe that digitization is just not about extraordinary application. We have to reach out to the farmers where they are, maybe Facebook, the WhatsApp, where their life becomes very, very easy. We suggested one company very recently, we are working with them also in Agro Input, where what we did is actually in every village they are working, we are creating a WhatsApp group for them. So what happens is that actually their salesperson is now virtually connected with actually 200 farmers in a village. So he's actually doing all things on a video call rather than having the farm meeting in the farm. So those innovations, again, these are very small things, but end of the day, I believe that we have to understand digitization is just not about very, very costly high-end technology. It is about like, adding value to the farmers. That's the most important times in that constituent in whatever we are doing. Second thing I would like to mention about BASF. The last time when I visited your office and I had some time of going through the monthly magazine you publish, I was surprised that actually 30% of that was about digitization, right? And I was surprised that a chemical company is talking about digitization so much. So maybe BASF was knowing that Corona is coming and we need to be digitized faster than others. Just joking, just joking. So again, we need progressive company like BASF to understand that going forward, these would be very, very important tools. That brings us to the last section of our discussion, Gustavo. Here, actually, I look from you a very pointed advice to different ecosystem players, especially the founders of tech companies, the entrepreneurs who are in agri businesses, as well as those who are actually in agri input side, that how we can use COVID to first of all survive. Secondly, to ensure that actually we become more sustainable in all the activities we are doing, so that we create agriculture as something people look towards as that, yes, you can reset a specific sector because of COVID. So your views on that, Gustavo.
Okay, thanks, Deepak. I would say, I think first, every successful business starts with a good idea, and you have to be different from your competitors, and that's what everybody trying to do, to find our space, our purpose, and to be different. But I feel, and I would maybe jump from area to area. I think first thing is you have really to understand who will be your customer, and how do you make your customer special? How do you really? I think we are, and you go to literature today, in the age of the customer, right? So I think that's very important to understand who do you want to serve and what makes you different. And if you have the possibility to protect via IP or any other things, please do so, because today every good idea that can be easily replicated, it will be replicated. But I think, Deepak, second aspect, I think you mentioned already, and I'm passionate about this aspect. When you look for companies' strategy, and I'm not only talking about my company, I go to the internet when I have a little bit time and start to do research. Companies, they have similar strategies and similar purpose, but the way you execute, how you do it, the passion of the owner, the passion of the team, and how good you really follow the books is what makes the difference. So it's not only about saying, oh, I have a vision and I know what I want to do, but be diligent, be very, very, for me, execution excellence of your plans is very important. I would also say scale up. It's also important as well. Don't believe that you have an idea that nobody ever had before and nobody will have. I would just say testing your ideas in different markets. So I don't know if you are a company in India or a company in Indonesia. There are companies that have experience in many other countries, and trying to understand those ideas in different countries is important. So I would say here, Deepak, I would just say, I think BASF in agriculture, we don't have all the answers of everything. I love to spend my time meeting you, Deepak, on many other entrepreneur people to understand the ideas and to see how there is a fit. So if some of you have the opportunity to engage with big companies and perhaps build partnerships on go-to-market, selling your service to big companies, or partnering and doing cross-selling partnerships, anything is possible. And I would say big corporations, and it's not exclusive of BASF, you know who are your competitors and can talk to them, but reaching them, testing your ideas, trying to go together, it's another tip that I can give right now. I can give a little bit more other tips, but these will be my three most important ones. Customer centricity, execution excellence, and partnerships. These are for me three tips.
Any advice on how to be more sustainable, environmentally sustainable for agri businesses?
Yeah, I think basically BASF is basically a chemical company. We understand how different views can be seen on chemicals, and I strongly believe, and our company strongly believe, that the chemicals we sell, if you apply in the way you should be applying, that they are very safe for farmers, environment, and also for the consumers. But we also understand that if we can apply less chemicals, why not doing it? So I think every technology that can help us to use less resources in anything we do, it's one example of sustainability, which doesn't mean that, it means that you can use resources more rational. So I would just say every entrepreneur idea that helps to apply less resources of for farming, or to reduce the total area that is needed to improve yield and productivity, are ideas of sustainability. Yeah. I must say also, Deepak, just to add another thing which has to do with sustainability, but perhaps risk management as well. I think more and more farmers are very much susceptible to weather changes and so on. And I think everything which can make crops more robust and less volatile to weather changes are also things that these are things that would have a benefit for how stable can be food production.
No, I fully agree. In fact, on two points, we have already taken your advice. So actually, the mission itself of our company is more crop per drop, per dollar, and per acre. So we already believe that reduce the resources utilization. And you rightly said that climate resilience is very important. So we are working in Middle East with a institution called International Center for Bioscience in Agriculture, where we are promoting the resilient crops, so that you can ensure yourself from the risk of the future. I'll say that extreme climatic condition. So we are doing that, and I learned a lot. Believe me, whenever I talk to you, it has always been a privilege that actually I'm having access to people like you. God has been kind to me, and today we have had this opportunity of sharing your insight with also the audience and the contact which are having, which would love and would have definitely gained a lot from what you've just talked. So Gustavo, thanks a lot for accepting this invitation. As usual, as I said, that it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And we all have learned a lot from you today. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, Deepak. But I have to tell you something you don't know. I learn with you much more than what you learn with me. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, humble. Thanks for the. I believe I'm a good student, right? So I keep on learning, and the idea is that, as you rightly said, that collaborate more. So collaborate. For my in dictionary, competition doesn't exist. It's everybody's where I love to collaborate. So thanks again for your kind words, and pleasure talking to you, and look forward to see you soon once COVID is gone. Thank you.
I hope so. Thank you. See you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.